Hey guys, Sara here from The Glitter Guy, and today I'm going to show you guys how to fully prep your tumbler for whatever cool design you're going to put on it. We're going to go through a few different steps and the importance of these steps. If you're anything like me, you might be a little bit impatient, so this is a lot for you guys. This is not a step that you want to skip. It is very important to prep these tumblers, and we're going to go over a lot of those whys today. I have a lot of tools to show you, a lot of fun tools, and yeah, we'll get to all the important and sometimes boring things. So first, you're going to need your stainless steel tumbler. This is a 16-ounce plump from the Steel Magnolia. I have a few different grips here. I will go over them first real quick. These two are from the Tumbler grip. They are my favorite grips right now. They are really easy to use. One of these is just a wand. As you see, there's nothing on the end. And this one, there is something on the end so that I can turn this right onto my turner. And then Old Reliable, which I used for a good long time of my life. This is just a pool noodle inside, but over time it's gotten a lot deflated and flattened. So what I do is I just take some paper towels. You can also take an old sock, I've done that, wrap it around, packing tape, and you got a fatter grip. So that's always good if you don't want to purchase ones like these. Can't go wrong with any of them. So there's two ways that I sand my tumblers. This one's I'm going to show you just with sandpaper, and then we'll show you with final sand. I usually like to use a lower grit for prepping. This 240 should work perfect, but honestly, I use whatever comes in this box. Next, I just grab it and start sanding, as long as it's gritty enough to make a difference on your tumbler. So a few reasons why we want to prep our tumbler is basically nothing's going to adhere to this smooth surface. It's way too smooth for something that's going to come right off. If you went to Mod Podge this right away, you would see gaps and little pools in the middle of all your Mod Podge and probably your spray paint depending on your temperature outside. So when I sand my tumbler, I go up and down and then I'll go back around this way. So I kind of make like a crisscross pattern. And you can see where you come to your finish because it's already scratched up. So before I start my other side, I just go around, make sure I didn't miss anything. You can see, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but between here and my rim are not done, we'll come back and do those. Now I'm just going to go this way. So now I'm just going to go around my edges and make sure that I get those real good. And then I come back to do my bottom. So now that our tumbler is covered in our lovely hand oils and all of that grit paper left over and all the little sanding, we're gonna wipe this bad boy down with some alcohol. This is the time that I normally insert my tumbler grip if I haven't already, because once you wipe this cup down, you're really not gonna wanna touch it again until it's prepped. We're gonna clean off everything from this, and if you went ahead and just touched it afterwards, all the natural oils or if any dirt is on your hands, it's gonna go right on your cup and probably cause you some problems later on. This little pump bottle's full of alcohol. If you do not have alcohol, you can take this bad boy right to the sink and wash it with dish soap. I prefer Dawn, but whatever you got on hand, as long as you're washing it real good. Final sand is a super easy way to prep your tumbler real fast. You're just going to wet the tumbler, take the final sand and a steel wool pad. This is Quad 0, that's 4 zeros on the package. And you're just going to take the steel wool and rub the final sand all over the cup for about 30 seconds and then rinse it all off. Wash your cup and you're ready to go. So here I'm going to show you how to tape off your cup. A few reasons you might be wanting to tape off your cup is if you don't want to put a design on the top rim or the bottom rim. A lot of people prefer this because if you drop this, if your customer drops this or you, and there's no epoxy on either rim, less likely to crack. A lot of people have a hard time getting a good seal on the rim, so they just prefer not to epoxy all the way to the top. So I take the tape and I line it right up to the rim and I use that as my line. And then I just follow it around very carefully. Because if you're not straight on here, you're not going to be straight down here. That's it. Now, if I wanted to do the bottom, I could do the same thing. So for the painter's tape, for anything that you're doing a straight shot with this tape, I definitely recommend using paint tape. Because it doesn't stretch, you're going to have less of a problem getting it straight on this tumbler. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with the electrical tape. I'm going to butt this up to the rim of my cup and use that as my line to make everything even. And then all I'm doing is guiding the tape to make sure that it stays on the rim. It doesn't overlap anything. And you can do the same for the bottom. Now that we have our electrical tape put on here, maybe this is too much for you. Maybe this is too thick, but you still want your rim taped off. So I'm going to teach you how to shorten this while it's already on the cup. What I have here is my cup trimmer. I use these mostly for my fabric cups, but they work great for tape also. All it is a blade in being held onto acrylic, and I know a bunch of people sell these now. This one isn't sold anymore. I got it 3.5 years ago, but it works great. So I've already adjusted it to the height I want. I'm going to take my cup, I'm going to put it against this blade here, and I'm just going to push it against the blade and turn it so it trims my tape. So let's say you want to do two things at once. You want to tape off the inside of your cup and the outside and leave yourself a little lip in there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little bit left. And we're just going to tape around the whole thing. And I am trying to be careful not to make the bottom too crazy, but also it doesn't matter too much because we're going to trim it right after this. So I'm taping it again, but I'm leaving a little bit of a lip. Now I have some on the inside, so if I'm painting or whichever I decide to do, most of my rim is already being protected and it's going to be less cleanup for me. Now let's say you want to put a line on a cup for a specific design. What I would do is I usually take things from around my craft room, honestly. In this case, I'm going to use this casting silicone from Counterculture. Whatever has a flat rim on it, and I take my dry erase marker because dry erase is going to come right off this tumbler. So you get the marker to the height that you want, and it's so easy. Just spin the cup around. Now I can use that line to tape it off for whatever design that I happen to be doing. So you take your electric tape or your painter's tape, whichever you prefer. I like to go on the top end of the marker, just because I know it's the most accurate. So I'll take my tape and line it right up to the top of that line. And then I'm gonna follow it around. Now I know that this line back on the bottom is straight and anything down here will be my design. This is one I've already pre-done, and you can see all the different levels that I have sectioned off here for glittering, and it's ready to be designed. So for spray painting your cup, you're always going to want to remember that less is more. You can always come back and do a second or third layer, so let it dry well in between. It's harder to fix your drips if you put it on too heavy at first. Just do a few light coats. You know, it's going to be hard to leave those little pieces alone, but you can come back and fill them in later. So our spray paint is dry, and as you can see, I don't have any drips. I really want you guys to practice patience when you're out there with your spray paint, because I'm telling you, I promise it will pay off. We're going to take our tumbler grip out of our cup. Now, if you can see in there, you can see that we kind of have a problem. All of my overspray has gone inside this cup. So this little pump bottle has acetone in it. Take a little bit of acetone and carefully go around here and just clean this up. And you're going to want to wipe it down until all the spray paint is gone on the inside of your cup. It's quite the task, but it's an important one. Now let's pull out our wine tumbler. This one has a tumbler shield in it from Tumbler Shields. So let's see what the inside of this one looks like. And as you can see, there is nothing on the inside of this rim. Tumbler shields you can get straight from Tumbler Shields themselves, and I think they're great. I think they're perfect. They make them for all the popular cups and sizes, and even have little bundles that make it a lot easier for you to choose. So another good way to base coat your tumbler if you do not have the access to the outside, or it's really cold or hot where you guys are, you just don't want to go outside in general, you can use paint. Right here we have Pop of Color, Prime Time, and regular acrylic paint. We are going to base this with the white Prime Time for right now. Another good way to base coat your tumbler is if maybe you want to base coat it and put glitter on it right away, which for a different project, I often find myself having to do that. You can mix Mod Podge with a paint. So this one actually has a color shift paint I used in a different craft, and I had these little, I don't know what to call them, but they are great little saving cups. Maybe salad dressing came in them at one point, I don't know. But they have a lid, they keep it from getting air in it, and I can reuse this later on. So if I know that I might use this color again and I mix too much, I don't have to waste it. So with adding in the Mod Podge with the paint, it's going to make it extra sticky, and your glitter is going to stick to it really well. So again, if you want to just put glitter right on this, just tint your Mod Podge with a little bit of paint. For this one, we're just going to use Prime Time. Prime Time you can get from CC DIY. We're just going to apply it just like you would apply any other paint. Usually I wind up doing a second coat anyway because I really like making sure it's vibrant and bright for whatever color I put on top. Advantages and disadvantages to either type of basing on your tumblers. Spray paint and Prime Time both need a second coat. I think sometimes you can probably get away without it with the Prime Time, but you're gonna wanna do a second coat. So the spray paint, obviously you have to wait and go back outside. Prime Time, you can sit in your house and wait for that while you're watching paint dry. The Prime Time does take a little bit longer than the spray paint to dry, but again, you don't have to go outside for it. And I'll let this sit and dry for a few minutes. I will let that dry for actually 20-25 minutes before I did a second coat. All right guys, we just went through a whole bunch of ways to prep your cups, base paint and taping them off. I hope that it really helped you guys and you guys know the importance of prepping your tumbler. and that you guys take this step seriously, although it's not actually the fun part. And I hope that we really helped you out. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our new videos. And I hope you guys all have a great day.